Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV and welcome to another video, guys. First things first, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, and as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing Chelsea's striker options and who may or may not be coming to Stamford Bridge this summer to fill the centre-forward void. Now that we've got the managerial situation sorted, Enzo Maresca deal agreed, just waiting for the contracts to be signed and, of course, the official announcement from Chelsea. But that's all done and dusted, and he's going to be the club's next manager. So attention's now going to turn to the transfer market, who's going to come in, who's going to leave, and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, reports suggesting that Chelsea want 4 summer signings: a goalkeeper, a centre-back, a left-back, and a centre-forward. In today's video, obviously, we're going to be focusing on the strikers. Now, Chelsea did have strong links to Victor Osimhen of Napoli. I think it's clear that he probably is going to depart the club this summer, and I think he would be a lot of people's choice to come to Chelsea. But I think for me, the reality of the situation is with this one, guys, is that I'm not as convinced about Osimhen as a lot of people are. I'm not saying he's not a good player. I just personally don't believe he's as good as a lot of people make out. For the money that's being touted, the release clause well over £100 million, the wages that he would be commanding as well. We don't know how much money Chelsea have got to spend this, and we don't know what the budget's going to be for a centre forward. I just think I'm not sure if Osimhen is what Chelsea need right now. I honestly believe that, like, in terms of how Maresca likes a centre forward to play, he likes the number 9 to drop deep, to link play. That's where I think Jackson could do very well and Kunku can do very well under Maresca. I'm just not sure if Osimhen's that type of guy. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but I think it's Chelsea more than ever now need to look at, rather than just a big name, they need to look at players that are going to fit the way that we want to play and fit the system that Maresca is going to operate. So, Chelsea have identified a way that they want to play. They've signed players to try and fit that way of playing. And now they've employed a manager who deploys a style of football that suits the way that the club are looking to play. I don't know if Osimhen fits into that. Don't get me wrong. If Osimhen signs, I'll be fully behind him. I'm not going to be upset about it. But I just think, all things considered, with how Maresca plays, with the money involved, not only in wages and transfer fee, I'm just not sure if that's the right move for the club right now. There's not been an awful lot of links with him recently. Of course, we know we've been tied up with the managerial situation. More links may emerge as we head towards a transfer window and further into the summer. But for me personally, I don't see that as the right move for Chelsea to be making this summer. I think we could spend less money on a striker, and we could use that money to invest elsewhere in the squad, which I think would be more beneficial for us. In terms of other names that have been touted about, Benjamin Sesko is one that Fabrizio Romano has said that, Chelsea admire, and he's definitely one to watch. Now, if you told me, 6 months ago, we were looking to bring Sesko in, I'd be like, absolutely no way, because it's not what we need. And I still believe Chelsea need a forward that is going to come in and make an instant impact on the team right now, not another project striker, as it were. Sesko, I think, is a couple of years younger than Nicholas Jackson. I'm pretty sure he's 20 years of age. And yes, he's got experience in terms of, he's more experienced than Jackson was before he come to the club. He's played Champions League football with Salzburg. He's played it with Leipzig as well. Had a very, very strong start. Very strong second half to the season in Germany. And yeah, he's clearly a talented boy. He's a tall striker, completely different to Osimhen, different to Jackson. Again, I don't know if Sesko, I haven't seen enough of Sesko, in detail to know whether he's that sort of striker that will link the play, drop deep. I look at him as more of I'm not going to say target man, but more of a focal point at the top end of the pitch. I don't think he's someone that would run channels like Jackson, create chances for others like Jackson does. He's got clear ability. And right now, for me, if Chelsea are going to get a forward, I think the most likely one it's going to be is Benjamin Sesko. Now, it was rumoured to be a £43 million release clause, but apparently, that release clause increased if his performances increase. If he scored a certain amount of goals and things like that, the release clause went up. So there's now reports suggesting that the release clause could be closer to £60 million than the original £43 million. Now, Sesko's got huge upside, but again, you don't know how good he's going to be when he first comes. There's a risk to it, like there is a risk to signing everyone. Is he the sort of striker that would suit a Maresca style of play? That remains to be seen. But I just look at that one and I think, for me personally, it's the most likely. Do I think it's the right thing to do? Not necessarily in terms of what we need in terms of a striker to come in right now and score the goals. And he'd be another long-term project striker, which is not what we're looking for. I mean, I would say that Chelsea need a penalty box striker like an Erling Haaland, in terms of he's not going to touch the ball that much, but he's going to be in the box at the right place at the right time. And the touches that he does have the ball are more than likely going to result in a goal. Now, I don't know if Maresca, uses that type of forward in his teams. You've got a very small body of evidence to go from, He changed Jamie Vardy's role completely. Obviously, Vardy doesn't have the pace with his age to go in behind. So he drops deeper a lot more, help link the play and those sort of things. So that's where, as I said, the likes of Jackson and Nkunku can be good. And maybe that's where, for example, a Victor Gyökeres could suit Chelsea and Maresca far more than an Osimhen or a Sesko. Maresca Gyökeres similar in characteristics to Jackson in terms of the way that he links up play, he runs the channels. He does those sorts of things. But what he is a far more polished finisher than Jackson. He's ruthless in front of goal. I think he got 40 GNA for Sporting last season as they won the Portuguese league. Really, really impressed. The only downside is he's got 100 million euros release clause, so 88 million pounds, which is expensive. Yes, it's cheaper than Victor Osimhen for sure. It's more expensive than Benjamin Sesko, but what you're getting is a striker that's more rounded, more proven. And admittedly, it's only one season in Portugal, but he's shown that he can do it. He's shown that he's a ruthless finisher, and if you give him the chances, he will score all types of goals, in behind, headers, left foot, right foot. He's what you would describe as a complete striker. And again, yes, it's a small body of work, but ultimately at some point you've got to take a punt on these players, because if you don't take a punt on Gyökeres this summer and someone else does, then you could potentially miss out on a very good player. The only issue for me is that if Chelsea were genuinely interested in Gyökeres, why didn't they look at him last summer for 20 million quid from Coventry? Why wait a year to then have to go and spend 88 million pounds if you want to bring him in? But I think out of the options, he probably suits Chelsea the best. But as I said, I think Sesko's the most likely. Then you've got other names like Artem Dovbyk, the Girona striker, has been touted in a couple of reports. Again, I don't know. I mean, Girona will deem him as untouchable. I don't know what sort of price we'd be looking at for him. 24 goals in La Liga last season, finished as the Liga's top goal scorer. I haven't followed Dovbyk closer enough other than last season to know what his goal scoring exploits were like. But this, to me, is very much sounds like it's been the best season of his career. And we have to see, was this season a one-off? Can he back it up next season? And these are questions that we need to ask. But personally, with Champions League football for Girona, I don't think Girona potentially are really in a place where they need to sell. Again, as when unfancied teams do well, their players are going to get picked off. We already know that Savio is going to Manchester City. We know that Alex Garcia, the midfield player, done very well for Girona, is in talks with Bayer Leverkusen. Girona will not want to lose another one of their star men in Dovbyk. And I like Dovbyk, pace, power, good finisher, but a little bit similar to Gyökeres in the sense that we're basing him off one season, really. This is the best season he's had. Similar with Serhou Guirassy as well. And so let's wait and see on that one. That's one that is a little bit quiet. Something that I really don't expect to happen, but you just never know. And then obviously you've got Ivan Toney, who Chelsea were linked with in January quite strongly. Definitely been someone that's been looked at by the club. But Toney, after scoring a few goals in his first few games back from the ban, has struggled. No denying it. Toney has absolutely struggled, towards the end of the season. Didn't score very many goals at all after that initial flurry. And any talk of him leaving Brentford has massively died down. There's not really been anything on him at all. I think the price that Brentford were touting in January reportedly wanted sort of 80 to 100 million pounds. I suspect if Toney does leave this summer, you're looking at 50, 60, at most 70 million pounds. So a definite drop in valuation for him. And again, I wouldn't entirely rule him out leaving on a free transfer in 2025. So again, for me personally, I think Toney would be the best fit. People know that I'm a big fan of Ivan Toney. I think his profile suits what Chelsea are looking for. He's got that Premier League experience. He's proven he can score 20 goals in the league. So for me personally, I think he fits it. He's a similar profile to Drogba and Costa, the profile of strikers that we've had success with. He can hold the play up. He can link the play up. I think he'd be a good Maresca type of forward. But it's all gone very quiet surrounding him. So it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see what we go for ultimately, because really the striker market's not great. And for what we're looking for, you've either got to pay an absolute fuckload of money, which we might not be prepared to do, or you've got to take a little bit of a gamble on someone, which is not really what we need. But I think my overriding feelings are, don't just go for a big name. Sign someone that's going to fit the way that you want to play and is going to fit into Maresca's system. Look into someone, deem if they play in the way that you want the team to play, and if they fit Maresca's style of play, and then move from there. Because ultimately, that's the most important thing. There's no point having a big name if they don't suit what you're trying to do. I'm more than happy to settle for a smaller name if they fit into what the club are looking to do and how the manager plays. But with that being said, we need someone to come in and hit the ground running. And there's very, very few of those. So right now for me, and I don't want to say unfortunately, it's a bit disrespectful to Sesko, but I personally believe right now that Sesko is probably the most likely one to come in. I'm just not really sure if that's the right move for the club for the reasons that I've given. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Which striker would you like to see come to Chelsea? It looks like it's going to be one of Osimhen, Sesko, or Gyökeres, with Dovbyk and Tony kind of outsiders right now. But let me know your thoughts. As always, smash a like on the video, guys. Subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll catch you again in another one soon.